Siddur Snippets is generously sponsored by the Saka family and by Ayala and Avram Foreman as well. We're on the bracha of V'liyerushalayim, not V'liyerushalayim, but the proper pronunciation is V'liyerushalayim. And we last left off the significance. Why do we daven in addition to Mashiach? Davening for the eschatological era. Fancy way of saying Yemos HaMashiach. Why are we specifying Yerushalayim? Because Yerushalayim is not an ordinary city. Yerushalayim, as we say, the second word of this bracha, Yerushalayim Ircha. It's your city. It's the place of Hashem's dwelling. It's the place of Hashem manifestation. It's an intense connection to Hashem, and we long for it. The real question is, why does this bracha begin with the letter Vav? Vav is a Vav HaChibur. The Vav connects with what comes before it. There's one other bracha that has the Vav, and that is V'lam Al-Shinim. Some of you correctly pointed out when I said V'lam Al-Shinim is the only bracha with a Vav, you correctly were ahead of me in preparing Siddur Snippets, but that's not true. V'liyerushalayim also has a Vav. So what's the Vav of V'liyerushalayim? What do you mean, and Yerushalayim, your city? Every other bracha, almost every other bracha, does not connect to the one before it with a Vav HaChibur, with the letter Vav. What is the significance of the letter Vav here? So Rav Schwab Zatzal, in his book, in his Sefer on Siddur, says the following. He says the word and, the letter Vav here, perhaps alludes not only to Yerushalayim Shalmata, the idea that we have a geographic destination, there is a holy city categorically different than any other called Yerushalayim, but there's Yerushalayim Shamala, there's Yerushalayim above. And Rav Schwab very beautifully describes, paints an image, that Yerushalayim Shamala is filled with thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of tzaddikim, of holy and precious and Erlich HaYidden, of holy Jews, who throughout the last 2 millennia have hoped and davened and longed for Yerushalayim, have waited for the opportunity to go home, have desperately yearned for our sovereignty, and Ki Mitzion Teitzei Sora, for Torah to again spread from Yerushalayim. And when the time comes, says Rav Schwab, for Yerushalayim to be rebuilt, these neshamas and the Yerushalayim Shamala, these holy souls who poured out their tears, as we mentioned last time from the Shulchan Aruch, that Roy L'chol Yirei Shamayim, Shei Meitzar V'Doeg Al Churban Beis HaMikdash, that a proper Yirei Shamayim, the evidence, the measure of a proper Yirei Shamayim is, does it bother you? Living in this gullus, living in a place where people ignore Hashem, or drive Him out, or violate His will for this world, that Churban, that state of Churban, a person should be Meitzar and Doeg, a person should worry and be aggravated over it. And those who do, they merit to live in Yerushalayim Shamala, even if they left this world before Yerushalayim was rebuilt. When the time comes, says Rav Schwab, he says that those in Yerushalayim Shamala will be together, the people who are physically experiencing Yerushalayim Shalmata. And when the Beis HaMikdash is rebuilt, when we come to Yerushalayim again, then there'll be a celebration, a union of Yerushalayim Shalmata, together with those in Yerushalayim Shalmala. So the Vav and V'liyerushalayim, the V is Yerushalayim Shalmata and Yerushalayim Shalmala. This notion permeates not only our tefillah, as we mentioned last time, whether it's in benching of V'nei Yerushalayim or davening V'liyerushalayim. The Gemara in Shabbos tells us that when we come upstairs, we'll be asked. One of the questions we're asked is, Tzipis Yeshua, were you counted in Yerushalayim Shamala? Is that where you went and that where you were waiting? Did we long for? Did we daven for? Were we feeling a sense of pain that Yerushalayim is incomplete? And then instead of looking up and seeing a Beis HaMikdash, we look up and you see the golden dome. I once had the schus when I was learning in Kolon in Israel. Rav Shechter would come to take him, escort him around to the different yeshivas that he spoke. So he had come, he went straight to the Kotel, and I met him soon after. And he said that he fulfilled the halach of Terin Kriya, having not been there in 30 days. He said before he tore Kriya, he looked up at the Mokam HaMikdash at Har HaBayis. And when he saw that there's still no Beis HaMikdash, and instead it's occupied. There is an occupied territory, it's called Har HaBayis, and it's occupied by others to whom it doesn't belong. He started to cry. He started to cry. He said that when he opened his eyes, there were a bunch of people standing around and they were pointing, like, look, there's a Jew who still cries. So I saw him, he said to me, this was a short while after, he said, Ephraim, doesn't everybody cry when they look up and they see there's no Beis HaMikdash? Why were they pointing at me? Why were they looking? That's not everybody's reaction. The first time you go back, if you haven't been there, and you look up and there's no Beis HaMikdash, everyone doesn't cry. Everybody's not sabrach and everybody's not broken. That's not the natural reaction. So there's a special place for those who are tzipis Yeshua. those who are waiting and those who are longing, there's a special place. And that's a fulfillment of a pasuk in Tehillim. In Kuf Lamed Zayin, Meshkachechi Yerushalayim Tishkachi Mini, we know the pasuk because there are incredible tunes and incredible singers and incredible harmonies and incredible performances at chuppahs. But do we know the words? We know the words, but do we know the words? Do we know what it's saying? Do we know its essence? Do we know what it's telling us? Who's the Imeshkachechi Yerushalayim? Imeshkachechi. If I forget Yerushalayim Tishkachi Mini, who's saying Imeshkachechi Yerushalayim? Who's the author? Who's the speaker? So the Targum teaches, the Targum translates that it's Ruach HaKodesh. Mesiva Karucha de Kutsha Va'amrin Din Minashi Alech Yerushalayim An Shel Yemini. So it's Mesiva Karucha. It's the Ruach HaKodesh that's saying it. Rashi says in Meshkachech Yerushalayim, Knesset Yisrael Omeres Kain. It's Knesset Yisrael, the Jewish people, that all day, every day, we're feeling in Meshkachech Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is incomplete. Look at the world. Look at the international world. Look at the state of the Jew. In Meshkachech Yerushalayim. And that finds its way, as we know, I'll end with this tonight, into so many of our practices. At a chuppah, for example, Shulchan Aruch and Orach Chaim Siman Tov Kuf Samach Sif Beis, Shulchan Aruch there says, you don't see this fulfilled as often as it should be. Some have a custom of doing it under the chuppah, some do it before walking down to the chuppah, to take some ash and to put it in the place where the tefillin go on the head. And he says others have a custom to break a glass under the chuppah. Shenemar Meshkachech Yerushalayim Imloal Yisraelim Arosh Simchasi. Shulchan Aruch paskins to put the ash on the Makom Hanachas HaTefillin, to break a glass under the chuppah. And the Mishnah Berurah adds, he says, V'zui Gam Ken Atam Shel Shviras Kli B'Shas Ksivas Tanaim. Why do the moms come in and break a plate? Yirolish Bor Tachas Chuppah Kos Shalim Eimba Misham Batashchas. But the Mishnah Berurah says the reason we break the glass under the chuppah, the reason we break the plate at the chasnas to show one and the same, which are in Meshkachech Yerushalayim. Such a happy, joyous moment. But even in that happy and even in that joyous moment, we have to be Dorshei Tzion. We think about it, Meshkachech Yerushalayim. We're answering that question and answering that call of Tzipis Yeshua. Are we counted in the Yerushalayim Shamala? So the Vav, Rav Schwab doesn't say any of this part, but the Vav of V'Liyerushalayim, for Rav Schwab, the Vav is Yerushalayim Shamala. We're waiting and longing for Yerushalayim Shalmata, which of course has had at least an Eschalta de Gula, but to be fully redeemed, but to be counted among those in the Yerushalayim Shamala Nirtzah Shem.